YouTube, what is going on, YouTube? I will give this a few minutes. This is a video, a live stream video that I was not intending to do. This is a live stream video that ultimately does not reflect the standard content of what I usually put on YouTube. I'm going to sit back and wait for someone to join. What's going on, guys? Brick Gaming, Isaac. This is a live stream that I am hesitant to even do because I do not like to take this approach on my channel. For those that watch my channel know that I'm all about positivity and building community, but I just feel like there's a situation that's ridiculously gotten out of control, and I'm waiting for an individual to show up to express what they need to express to me live, and I will gladly and respectfully respond. So let's just, like I said, for those watching, let's hang out for a couple minutes and wait for a certain individual to show up. In the meantime, I hope everyone is having a good evening, staying safe, obviously. Never stop collecting. What is going on? Thanks for showing up. And again, guys, I'm gonna keep repeating this probably a few times before we get into this. This is gonna be an interesting video because it's something that doesn't really align with my the culture that I like to promote here on my channel. But I just felt this is an issue that I wanted to address live. So let's give it another minute. I'm waiting for someone to show up to be present, to be able to address their concerns and their points of views for me to respond to them live. And let's see if that happens. If it doesn't happen, if this individual doesn't show up, I'll still hang out with you guys and answer some questions for a little bit, and we'll talk comics, and so forth. Yeah. So, what's everyone up to tonight besides hanging out here? Anybody have anything fun going on today? I know what I've been doing. I've been on the phone with the school district dealing with a bunch of personal stuff for my kids. It's been crazy, draining. Happy to be here with you guys, though, even if it's kind of a, sticky situation that I'm addressing here. Let's give it let's give it one more minute to see if a specific individual shows up, guys. Hey, what's going on, Simon? What's going on, Lisa? It's all your fault, Lisa. Yeah, man. I hope everyone is having a good evening. When I get off of here, I'm gonna go. My mom actually stopped by. Unfortunately, we can't. We've been social distancing, but she stopped by and dropped something off on my lawn. She dropped off some dirt, some garden dirt, in this little foldable frame that you can just put like in your backyard and build a garden bed in. And she brought a couple plants, veggie plants for me to plant. So before the sun gets too dark, I'll probably go out there after this. Isaac, cool. You with your mom, Golden Age. Wow, that's awesome, man. And that's an awesome thing to share, with the parent. So that's real cool. Lisa says LCS is opening tomorrow. That is great. That is awesome. I do hope that they're taking, I'm sure they are forced to, but I was going to say I hope they're taking proper precautions, but I'm sure they're forced to at this point. Because I know certain shops in my area, we went into phase 2 here, which allowed more businesses to open up, but to like extreme, limitations. Like I know my shop A1 open up, but they're only allowing like 6 or 8 people in there at a time, and their store is big. And they have to social distance, they have to wear a mask, and they can only be in there for like 10 to 15 minutes each, so they can continue to let more people in. So it's crazy, but hey, look, it's a step in the right direction for sure. Let me see. Man, I was really hoping that this individual would show up. to address this topic, because I'll tell you, they're all in my comments. So I'm just gonna start talking, guys, and I don't want anyone that's here right now to get the wrong impression of me. For those that watch my channel, you may know that I get passionate about things that I talk about. That could go to like real serious social issues, to family life, to comic books, even something fun. I get passionate, right? But getting passionate isn't the same thing as getting, angry and, in a sense, toxic and negative, right? There's definitely a line between being passionate and being negative. And I never promote negativity on my channel. I respect everyone in this community. I don't care of the color of your skin, whatever your gender, your religion, your political affiliation, who you vote for in the voters booth. I don't care about any of that, because I always say that we as human beings are more alike than we are different, and we just need to get back to that. And we need to stop thinking that just because we disagree on things, we have to like hate each other and be enemies. It's ridiculous. And there's such that divide, especially probably in the US. I don't know too much about the rest of the world, but I know in the US where it's such a divide right now. And that's what I love about comic books and pop culture. It's like, even though like that crap seeps through from one side or the other, it's just like, let's focus on the commonalities and build community and enjoy each other and enjoy the hobby, right? That's what I'm all about. But today, I'm gonna kind of cross my limitations and address something, but I'm gonna do it while still trying to be positive and respectful. But for many of you that know, I have been addressing this cameo versus first appearance issue like all week long, and it was something that was on my mind. But I had one individual chiming in on the comments in my videos that kind of pushed me to this, and I just replied to his comments. I gave him my email. I said I'd give him my phone number so we could talk this out over the phone, because what I felt ultimately was a fun and respectful argument, like respectful argumentation, has turned into something extremely toxic and not worth my time. And I said, look, here's my email. Hit me up there. I'll give you my phone number. We could talk, because I'm not responding to you in comments anymore. And then I just thought about it, and I said, you know what? I will entertain this one more time if you want to show up in a live stream, whether that's just coming in the comments, or I'll give you a link to hop up face to face in the chat with me. But ultimately, I don't see him so far, and I'm kind of disappointed, because every time, I like post a video, or every time somebody drops a comment, he's on there responding like right away, and I don't see him here. And it's like, and I'm gonna say this too, and I said this in my live stream yesterday. It is fun and healthy to have debates and an argument, and to argue about these things. It's fun. Anything regarding comics and pop culture. This is such an issue when it comes to like first appearance. It's such a ongoing fun argument to have, but it should never not be fun. It should never cross the line to where people start getting angry and reactionary and start pointing fingers, saying you're lying, you're wrong, you're lying. It's people like you that ruin the industry and lie to collectors. And that's what has been handed my way over this last week. And like I said, normally, and my advice to everyone that may get interactions from individuals that do this, is to just normally ignore them. But like I said, I like to give people the opportunity to show me that we can both be grown individuals and have a conversation without being childish, immature, disrespectful, reactionary, narcissistic, and egotistic, right? That was my attempt here, and I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for this individual. No, last night, yeah. See, and Lisa says, did this happen? This didn't happen in a live stream. Interesting thing. I was communicating he commented on all my videos prior to last night's live stream, and I was keeping it respectful, and he just kept taking it down a notch. And I'm like, man, like, watch it. Like, and I was hoping that he would have hopped on that live stream last night. But he didn't. But as soon as the live stream posted, he was commenting on it. And here's the thing. So many people were expressing different opinions last night in that live stream. We were going at it. No, I think it's like this. No, I think it's like this. But at the end of the day, everyone in the comments was extremely respectful to each other. And even me, like, I was like, hey, so-and-so, like, okay, I got you there, but I don't know if I agree with you there. I'm going to challenge you on that. And nobody went back to the comments, was like, screw you, Journo. Like, there was none of that. It was all, we found common ground. We found commonalities, and everyone was extremely respectful. I dropped some jewels. People in the comments dropped some jewels, and it was great. But this particular individual didn't show up. And where are they now? And like I said, I gave them the opportunity. I'm not one to put people on blast and call people out. I think that's pretty immature, but I'm trying to do this respectfully. And I think this individual essentially crossed a line. And I want to give him the opportunity. And I know this is someone that I'm assuming is subscribed to me. And I even told him in my comments, like, look, I'm not going to respond to you anymore because I feel like it doesn't support, it's not in line of the culture of my channel. But I'm not going to block you. I'm not going to block you or censor you and delete your comments. But if you can't continue this discussion respectfully, I'm just going to not engage. Or if you can't do it, I ask you to just stop. And it's that simple. So again, everyone that was there in the live stream last night, I mean, it was what a comic book argument should be, man, because everyone got so into it, but we left respecting everyone. People probably learned a thing or two that they didn't know. I learned some things that I didn't know. And you call it a day, and like, man, that is such a great feeling to have. It shows me that so many people out there too are, we're really good human beings. And I'm not saying that this individual isn't a good human being. I would never do that. But I challenge them to be better. We gotta be better in communicating with each other, especially on social media platforms, because it's so easy to sit behind your screen and like allow yourself to kind of take a tone, that kind of crosses that line of respectful dialogue. So, oh, Mark, thanks. Mark says, great Tupac shirt. Yeah. Funny. We did an interview today. My co-host Jeff and I did an interview today for Comic Book Canon Show, which is next or tomorrow. So guys, check out the Comic Book Canon YouTube, subscribe there, and we're gonna have an awesome show tomorrow night. We actually interviewed a comic book owner that owns 3 stores out in the Virginia, Maryland area. And he came on wearing a Wu-Tang shirt. I was wearing my Tupac shirt. It was pretty cool. So yeah. Yeah. Hey guys, you want to know a funny thing about me real quick? I'm gonna tell you guys something funny. So I was working on a commission, an art piece today, right? And when I draw, I like to listen to music. So I'll put music on like Amazon Prime or something. And while I was doing my art, let me tell you what I was listening to. Okay, I was listening to. I started out with some Bone Thugs. Then I went to some Tupac, and then I went to Tracy Chapman, then the Beatles, and then Def Leppard. Now tell me that isn't a wide range of music right there. So I get into everything and anything when it comes to music, man. I'm all over the place. I love music. To be honest, the only thing I can't get too much into is like scream metal and a lot of country. Although there is some country like I love Garth Brooks. Alabama has some classic songs. There's a little bit of modern country that I can dig, but anything else, like I love all kind of music. So just had to drop that there for you guys. So all right, I'm awaiting on this individual for a few more minutes, and then I'm just gonna say screw it, and I'm gonna talk with you guys because I just I don't know why he wants to show up in my comments, but Simon, thank you, man. Yeah, yeah. You know what's cool too? Like I growing up in the Bay Area, I used to go to Berkeley and San Francisco, and there was like Amoeba. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Amoeba and Rasputin's, but real like big classic old school type record stores, you know. And I what I would do is I would go search random genre sections, and if there was a album cover that I liked, I would buy it. So I would buy like anything from like classic rock to like new age to like Middle Eastern instrumental music, to old like blues and stuff, and just that's how I would find new music and stuff. What's going on, everyone? Ja F, Michael L, Violet Insane cosplay. What is going on? Thanks for joining, guys. Early Smashing Pumpkins, absolutely. Absolutely, man. 1979 is still a classic. And then what's the one? Little Boy. Little I don't know if that's the actual title, but where he's like, you know, I used to be a little boy. That's one of my favorite Smashing Pumpkin songs of all time. Yeah, man. I'm all over the place. Tori Amos. I'm big on Tori. I got to see Tori Amos live in San Francisco, and I got to see her play 3 pianos at one time. You guys ever see somebody do something like that? Crazy. Some of the greatest live performances that I've ever seen was, and one of them was an honor because I got to perform with them, and that's KRS-One. I got to do a show with KRS-One about 9 years ago now. A legend, obviously, and he has one of the greatest on screen live performances ever. His energy like possesses you. Like literally, for me, when you see a KRS-One show, it's like an out of body experience. You know what? Another one of the greatest live performers, Sarah McLachlan and Bjork, and Tool. Mike says Elvis. Elvis was a talent. Absolutely. I give it to Chuck Berry too. Robotech, what's going on? Cool Comics. Alice in Chains. Absolutely. I like that you dropped a tribe after Alice in Chains too. Alice in Chains, man. Such a sad man. Yeah, man. Rooster and absolutely, man. You know what I liked about what they coined as grunge music? You know, after like the big hair 80s. Hey, don't I love Def Leppard, man. Def Leppard's one of my favorite bands to this day, especially the stuff they did in the mid or late 80s, Pyromania and Hysteria. I think Hysteria is one of my favorite albums of all time. But you know, a lot of that big hair. I like Warrant, obviously like Guns N' Roses, but they're Metallica are kind of in a different genre. But the grunge era, I like it because it was so new, it was so modern, but yet it brought more of that classic rock element back into rock music. Public Enemy, absolutely. KRS-One, Tacoma saw KRS-One speak at a university in Buffalo in '93. Yeah, man, I can assume that just him speaking, he's such a force, man. He is such an entity. It's nuts, you know. Yeah. Lots of good stuff. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Zion I, but I got to build good friendships with Zion I, but I came up a big fan of Zion I, got to get to know them and make music with them over the years as well. They're another really great live performance. Mike says he's never heard of some of these bands. Time to do some Googling. All right, guys, is Thundergodd in the chat? If you are Thundergodd, I'm giving you an opportunity to have a respectful discussion. I am here live. And yeah, I mean, we can sit and talk about music all night. That's fine with me. I'm gonna check my email real quick, see if you might have reached out to me via email. Bear with me, guys, for 1 second. Okay, guys, Jack Bauer says, who is that and what happened? And I'm going to express again, guys. I am not bashing. I am not here to bash. That is not what my channel is about. I am upset at how things transpired with this individual, but I'm giving him an opportunity to show up so we can have a conversation and clear the air. I even gave him my email. I said I would gladly give him my phone number and we could talk by phone. But I do feel that he crossed the line on my channel in my comments, and it's got to a point where it's extremely antagonistic. It's blaming, and it's gotten personal. And when you take that approach to anything comic book related, it's no fun. It's toxic. It's negative. It's a waste of energy. And ultimately, it's I kind of, like I said this in the early on in the stream. Normally, I would advise everyone when stuff like this happens, ignore it. But this is my brand. This channel is my brand, and I'm here as a delegate for the community, so to say. So it's not just that I'm coming here to defend myself, but I'm coming here to take a stance for the community and for what I represent, and also to allow this individual to, like I said, clear the air and understand that, look, we can atone and we can get to a point where hopefully we can get back to having mutual respect. And I'm always about that. Let me give an example. I'm involved in local Facebook pages that are community pages for where I live. I've utilized local Facebook community pages for many things, for local politics. I'm heavily involved in local politics. And for you guys that don't like the divisive kind of national political platform right now, where it's extremely liberal or extremely conservative, or there's just extremes on both sides, like, ignore all that and get involved in your local politics. And one thing about local politics is a lot of your local representatives, you don't know their party affiliation, and you have to hold them accountable according to their actions. And I know that politics, the president matters, and all that matters, and always go out and vote. But what helps you more and what's affecting you and your family, what's right around you, is getting involved in local politics. I get involved so much in local politics and people hate me. And here's the funny thing. It's not just like Republicans that hate me or Democrats. I piss everyone off because I stand up for things that I think I believe in that don't fit a political box. I've stood up for our local water prices and water rates. I've stood up against petitioning for wrongdoing of local council members. And I was actually planning on running for city council this year in my city, but I'm not going to, concerning with the crisis and everything that's going on. But our city shut down our youth basketball this last year, and I fought it all the way to City Hall, and I won. I played lawyer, and I got the city and the school district involved, and ultimately they were trying to shut their doors on me, but I pushed and pushed, brought it to city council, and they voted, and in a unanimous rule, we won to reinstate youth basketball because I'm all about the kids. My point here is that I utilize social media groups to be active locally, and so many people jump to social media and start being a-holes, and they start mouthing off and they act like little children. You know what I do? I respond in a comment and I say, hey, here's my number. I'll buy you coffee. Here's one thing people don't know about me, though. I'm from Richmond, California. I didn't grow up easy. I was facing a jail or death for the majority of my teenage years. I was in a dark place. I was soulless. I did a lot of things that I wished I did not do, and I won't go into details. But it was tough, and I moved out of Richmond because I was tired of hearing bullets hit our house raising my children. So we moved out of that, and I didn't want to raise my children in that environment. So I could take two approaches when people approach me like this. I have that side of me. Thundergodd has joined. Thank you for being here, Thundergodd. I'm going to get to you in a minute, and I just want you to know I want this to be a respectful conversation, but I want to finish what I'm saying here. So like when people take that tone on these social media groups, it's like, we all live in the same town and we're neighbors, and you're going to take that approach to a neighbor that you don't even know, and you don't know me. You don't know me. I could get on a level. But the funny thing is that that doesn't define me. And what happens is I give them my phone number, and the ones that finally call me, they're like, man, screw you, da 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 da. And I'm like, hey, so da 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 da. And then at the end of the conversation, they're like, oh man, you know what? We have more in common than I thought. You are a good dude, and I'm so, like, I appreciate that. And I'm telling you, it's like we really got to tone it down and understand that we're more alike than different, and we got to communicate. And the one thing I say to people that take tones like that, it's like, first, my question is, do you have children? And secondly, do you want them hearing you or even acting like that themselves? Come on, like, we got to be better examples. So, all right, guys, let's get into this. Again, Thundergodd, you are here. I told everyone here, Thundergodd, that this isn't me bashing you. And guys, I'm going to tell everyone in the comments right now, I don't want anyone in the comments bashing anyone. If you disagree with me, if you disagree with Thundergodd, if you disagree with anyone, there will be no bashing, or I will block you and remove you from the chat. Okay? I'm going to put that straightforward. Straightforward. I'm going to make that clear. Okay? You can disagree. Like I said, what we did yesterday was extremely positive. But okay, so okay. Thundergodd said he'll be right back. So guys, I'm going to be right back too. I'm going to go get some water because I'm already getting parched. So give me about 60 seconds. I'm going to grab some water. I'm going to be back, and then we'll be able to get into this. So give me just a moment, guys. All right, guys. I am back. Thundergodd is back. Let me take a sip of this. All right, so Thundergodd, I'm gonna kind of run down how we can approach this. Give me just a second. I want to make sure I got something up here that I can have some tools to bring up on screen if need be. So let's do this. And again, Thundergodd, I appreciate you being here. You know, I really want this to be positive. I don't want this to be negative at all. But I'm gonna start like this, Thundergodd. Okay, look. As I said in my comments, first off, let me give you the benefit of the doubt and give everyone the benefit of the doubt here. Look, I understand when people are communicating through comments on a screen, maybe things get lost in translation and we're not perceiving the intent appropriately. So Thundergodd, I'm going to throw that out there for you. Okay? Now, if I feel though you're getting snappy with me, I will not hesitate to get snappy back to you. Okay? I don't want to take that approach. But what I want to do right now, Thundergodd, is I want to allow you and to address one piece at a time, because honestly, this is where I'm at. I feel that what turned into what started as a respectful back and forth argumentation, where we ultimately like agreed on a root of a thing, I felt like you just kind of continued to talk circles around me when you know, I may have proved some of your things wrong. I felt like you would say one thing and put a period after it, and then when I proved that otherwise, you changed up what you were saying. Maybe you felt that I was doing that, so we're going to clear the air on that. But ultimately, I'm going to tell you what I didn't like. I do not like when you sit there and say that I am lying. You said, I believe, quote, it's people like you. I don't like that. I don't think that's appropriate. So, you know, let's throw all that aside though, and let's start one piece at a time. Okay. So I'm going to start by saying this, and Thundergodd, feel free to make a statement or drop a question while I'm talking, and try to be concise. Try to like I said, let's take this one step at a time. But so Thundergodd and I, this all started because I made a video saying, you know, how to sell your comic book collection if you wanted to. I know, horrible video to make, right? Nobody wants to sell their collection. Actually, Mike Spears probably wants to sell. He wants to sell and flip all day. I learned that about him. So But basically, I made this video talking about, selling comic books, and I was using an example about how if you want to sell to an LCS, they're going to give you like pennies or a nickel or two on the dollar. And I use an example of X-Men Annual 14. I use the example just because of not what the book is, but because of the price of the book. I said, normally, if you put this book on eBay, maybe you'll get 20, 25, 30 bucks for it. If you sell it to an LCS, they might give you $5 for it. But when I was using this book as an example, I said, let's take Annual X-Men 14, first cameo of Gambit. And then I just went on, and nothing more of the video had anything to do about first appearances or cameos. And I just said that brief statement. And Thundergodd, I believe almost verbatim, your reply was, but you're wrong. Uncanny X-Men Annual 14 is not Gambit's cameo appearance. It's his first appearance. I'll let you respond, Thundergodd. Is that pretty accurate? And I can actually pull it up here on screen. Let me actually do that. I want you to respond, Thundergodd, and just tell me if I hit that pretty dead on. And while I'm waiting for you to respond, I'm going to find your comment. I'm going to find that comment. And we're going to, here we go. Okay, here we go. So, okay, here it is. Let me close this out. Hold on. Where are we here? StreamYard. All right, I'm going to bring this up. Thundergodd says, okay, what does Thundergodd says? I only point here is not a cameo in X-Men Annual. My point is not about, right, exactly. So yeah. It had, my video had nothing really to do with the book except using it as an example for value. Thundergodd wasn't talking about value of the book or anything. He was just expressing his opinion that I believe that this is not a cameo appearance of Gambit. You do believe it is considered his first appearance, like period, right? Right, Thundergodd. I'm assuming we can agree there. You believe that book is not a cameo. It shouldn't be considered a cameo. You believe it should be just his first appearance, period, end of story. If I could just get a simple yes or no to that. Yes. Okay. So simple yes. Okay. Now, before we go any further, I actually agree with Thundergodd on this when it comes to the term. And let's just talk about term, Thundergodd. Let's not go all. When it comes to the term, I 100% agree that Annual 14 is not Gambit's first cameo. If I was to call it anything, I would call it Gambit's first appearance, period, right? But guess what? I would also call Hulk 180 Hulk's first appearance, period. I would also call ASM 299 Venom's first appearance, period. That's me. So we're not going to break out any, we're just keeping it simple. That's me. Now, Thundergodd, let me ask you this. And this is how we can dive more into detail without things getting lost in translation. Thundergodd, why do you feel it's not a cameo? And before you answer, let me finish this. Example, for me, I feel it's not a cameo for two reasons. For one, because the textbook definition of cameo means a character that you are already aware of, they're distinguished. So nobody's first appearance, nobody's showing up for a first time that nobody knows is considered a cameo by definition. So that's one reason why I don't think Annual 14 is a cameo. But that's the reason why I don't think any cameo in comic books is a cameo. The other reason why I don't think it's a cameo is simply because I think a first appearance is a first appearance. If we see somebody, man, I'm so backwards with this. Where am I? If you see somebody popping in a comic book on one panel like this, hey, right? And you don't even know their name. You don't know who they are. You don't know. Like, to me, If I was making the definitions, that's the first appearance. Period. End of story. Those are why I don't believe Annual 14 is Gambit's first cameo. So I want Thundergodd. Now I want you to explain why you feel Annual 14 is not Gambit's quote unquote first cameo appearance. So I'll let you respond to that, and we'll go from there. Okay, here we go. Thundergodd says, because I've been reading comics since the 1970s. I was in the industry during the 1990s working at Milestone Media. Thundergodd, what is can you clarify so we all have context? What is Milestone Media? Let us know what that was. Is that a comic book store or a publishing company or whatever? Oh, sorry. And yeah, and he further goes on to say the industry has always used that word. Okay. So, and I'm not okay. And again, me and Thundergodd, I wouldn't say we're in agreement or disagreement because I don't know because I wasn't around. But I did research and I agree with Thundergodd that the term cameo was around in the industry at least since the 70s. Now, to what extent, I don't know. I wasn't around in the 70s, right? And collecting as a kid in the 80s, I don't have any reference back to that. But I think we agree, at least to say, at least, yes, the term cameo has been around to some degree since at least the 70s. And Thundergodd says, well, before I get into that, Thundergodd says it was a DC imprint that had heroes like Icon, Static, etc. Okay, awesome. So did they? So they created characters that DC used. Is that? Am I understanding that right? I was in editorial and wrote in an issue of Icon. Oh, awesome. Oh, okay, awesome. Okay, so that's good to know. Now, Thundergodd says it's always been 3 panels. Okay, Thundergodd, this is where I think we're challenging each other. Okay, now when you say it's always been 1 or 3 panels, for me, that's you saying it. And honestly, you're just one person, right? Let's not argue here. Nobody's demeaning anyone. So if I was a journalist or a detective or I was trying to prove a fact, right? It's my duty to come to you and say, okay, what data or proof do you have to back that up? Where are you getting that information from? So when you state it's always the idea of a cameo appearance has always been 1 to 3 panels. According to who and in what context? And before you answer that, let me just state this because in my research, there is no specific definition of cameo by any industry entity, by Marvel, by DC, by a publisher, by a media publication, by an index, by Overstreet, by CGC. There has been the general idea of a few panels. Some have said 1 to 2. I've seen some say 2 to 4. So there's a gray area of what is defined as a cameo. Now, Thundergodd, are we in disagreement or agreement? When you say it's generally or it's always been 1 to 3, is that are you generalizing with gray area? Or are you saying that point blank period, it's 1 to 3, that's the rule, nothing else? Okay, we're gonna get to the CBR article in 1 minute. Okay, let's hold off on that. I would like you to answer the question or the 2-part question. 1, when you say it was always 1 to 3 panels, is that concrete? And if so, where's your proof? Who said it? And if it's not concrete, are you agreeing with me then that it's a gray area? I'll let you respond to that. Are we in agreement on it being a gray area and not point blank defined by any industry standards? Even though maybe you've generally seen what is a cameo as 1 to 3. Okay, but again, I'm asking a straightforward question. And this is why I don't want to get to, this is where I'm like, you're talking circles around me. Sir, do you have clear definition, clear proof of a point blank period definition that a cameo is 1 to 3, nothing more, period? Not a gray area. I've never, okay, see, sir, this is where you fall short. I don't care. So you've never seen anyone say it's more than 3. That's besides the point. Can you provide to me evidence that any industry standard clearly states that anything more than 3 panels is not a cameo? If you can provide that evidence, I will humble myself and say, sir, you are 100% correct. I am wrong. If you can't, we'll move on. Okay. What do I mean proof? Let's look at them. Okay, I'm going to bring up the can you, let's see, how can I bring up proof is anything from, now you did bring up CBR and I will bring that up, okay? Proof is anybody in the industry from most importantly the publishers, right? Marvel, DC. They should be the ones setting precedent. They should be. And then, you know, your industry entities like Overstreet, Price Guides and Index. And then in this day and age, your CGC companies, because they're supposed to be certified professionals, they should be next. And then after that should be the editorial publications. Okay. So, okay. Thundergodd, let's look. Okay. So right now, you don't have proof. So ultimately right now, it is a gray area. Even though Thundergodd, I take your word. I take your word that you've been around a long time and you've probably never, most cameos that tell me if I'm right, Thundergodd, most cameos, most books that are coined cameo anyway, right? Most books that either CGC or Overstreet or anybody calls a cameo, you're in your personal experience since the 1970s, Thundergodd, usually a cameo is 1, 2, or 3 panels, right? I mean, you don't define it, but you have an experience to say this is what I've seen. And if you answer that, that's at least you have been there. You can't put it into context. It doesn't mean it's a defined definition though. Correct. Okay, so Thundergodd, everyone in the chat too. Thundergodd has been around a long time. And he knows that most books that are coined cameo appearances probably don't have more than 3. I don't know, maybe 4. Maybe 4, but probably don't have more than 3 panels. And this is where I think we all can probably agree. All of us who have read comic books, let's name one cameo off the top of our heads besides Annual 14. Okay, we're not talking about that book. This is obviously the argument. Can any one of us name a cameo, a book that's defined a cameo appearance, a first cameo, that I'll say 4, that has more than 4 panels? We'll say 4. Can anybody name one off top? I don't think I can. I don't. I think Venom has 3 because he's on 2 panels on 1 page, and then he's on the big whole page of the last page in 299. I think Taskmaster has 2, including 1 whole page. Wolverine technically has 2 panels because he talks in one, but you don't see him. So that could be considered 2. Right. So yeah. So I don't know. Anybody has any? Yeah. Yes. It's okay. Has Killer? Okay. Hey, Brick Hunter. Killer Croc's cameo. How many? Do you know how many panels are in that book? Or can you kind of recall like maybe an estimate off the top of your head? Carnage. 360, you think has more than 3 or 4 panels, Simon? Let me, you know what? I'm just right here, guys. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. Hold on. Hold on tight. Okay. I got Carnage's cameo. I'm gonna pull this out. Okay, Isaac says where's Isaac says X-Force number 20 had a cameo. Okay, but that wasn't his first, Isaac. We're specific, and that's why I said we're specifically talking about first appearance cameo, first cameo appearance. But that's a good point. You know, like, and here's the thing, guys. This is what I learned too. Cameo has been in the industry, has been an industry term for a while, but it wasn't always just for firsts. I know that there's overstreaks from the 1980s that say characters have cameo appearances and it's not their first. They're just showing up briefly in a book. And that's a fact. It's in Overstreet. Okay, but guys, we're going to look at Carnage's cameo. And I haven't read this book in a long time, so so okay, who said Carnage? But that's isn't it? But we don't see him as Carnage, huh? What's his name? God, freaking, I am, guys. I have, just so you guys know, I have memory issues. I'm not throwing this out there to be to have pity, but I have trauma. I've experienced trauma. I'm not want to get too into this, but I have short-term memory issues, and sometimes it's kind of like a memory dyslexia, and I don't process words right, and so like I draw a complete blank. It's like somebody is missing. My brain is missing data, and I can't think of his name. Cassidy, Cletus Cassidy. See, there it is. I do that. So sometimes if I forget what I'm talking about or I forget a word, that's why. Anyway, so here we go. Here we go. Okay, so he does have, that's right. Okay. Guys, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Here is a cameo first appearance. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 panels just on this page. So right there, so Thundergodd, just like Annual 14, this goes against what you're saying in terms of the 3, right? So there's 4. Now, obviously, I'm not arguing that 4 panels is obviously still less than Annual 14 had for Gambit, right? Of course. But here's one with 4. So again, look. This is where I'm gonna be humble and say, Thundergodd's been around a long time. He probably knows that a ton of what's coined as cameos probably don't have more than 3. Here's one that has 4. It sounds like there's a few others that maybe have 4 or 5 as well. Okay, I'm gonna show it again. And I don't even know if this is all. I didn't look through the whole book, but we see him on this page with 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's got 4 right there, and I'm not sure. I think that might be the first time we see him. I think so. I think that's it. So I think Carnage has 4. So again, so Thundergodd, let's humble ourselves and say, look, there is no concrete definition set forth. Like, what's an example? I don't know if this is a good example, but in baseball, you have 4 balls, right? You can't argue and say, well, no, I should get 5 balls this time, or there's 3 strikes, and you argue I should get 4 strikes in this at bat. It's 3 strikes and you're out. That's clearly defined. That's the rule. I would hope that we can agree that that rule is not set in stone, but we have become used to the idea of around 3 panels being a cameo or less. But I think we need to humble ourselves to say this had 4. Now you say, okay, in the industry, just showing a hand is not considered an appearance. You must show a face or full body. Okay, he showed his face. He showed his face. And we might get to it today. I don't know. We've already been in the stream for a while, but the industry has changed. The industry's definition of even cameo and first appearance has changed. And that's a fact, but we can get into that later. Carnage shows his face in this book, and he appears in 4 panels, and it's a cameo. I think we need to move on from this, though. Okay, look, the bottom line, I think we're getting to a point now. We're getting to a point where I want to focus on Thundergodd's idea here of a cameo. Thundergodd, the bottom line, I think, with you is you have a very concrete definition of what a cameo should be. You do. You have not presented me any concrete proof, though, that states that. Now, before I go into that, I'll bring up the CBR article, Thundergodd, and this can be for your defense, but let me bring that up real quick, okay? Just give me a second. You're gonna see me, but I'm gonna be typing in another screen here. So just give me a minute. I'm gonna bring up this CBR article. Again, it's CBR. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna bring this up on screen, guys. And Thundergodd, you kept bugging me about proving to you that my article was the same that you shared to try to, prove me wrong. Let me show you this. Share screen, application window. All right, check this out. Thundergodd, this was the article that you shared to try to prove me wrong. This was the article that I used. I took the quote from this. I took the quote from this article right here. Let me show you the quote that I took and that I used in a panel of my first video that I did. And I used the images from this too. I used this image right here. I saved it and took it from the same article. And then I used this top piece right here. Where's the little quote that I shared, though? It's down here. Where do they say? This is where they say a cameo should be, in their opinion, 2 to 3 panels, right? Where is that? Shoot. All right, give me a minute to read through this. Okay, here's what However, gamuts, when he first appears in the issue. Oh, right here. This is what I shared. This is what I shared. Right here. Oh, actually, no, you're okay. Okay, so let me pop back into the screen. So where are we? I shared the images from that article, Thundergodd, okay? I shared images from that article. And then I shared a quote stating what 2 to 3, what they defined as a cameo, right? I'm going to pull that up right now. I never said I gave the full article. I never said I gave the full article. I used that article in my video. I never once stated I used that full article for anything. Okay, Thundergodd, listen. That is your opinion, and it's CBR's opinion. Now, check this out. To your credit, CBR is backing up your opinion and what you believe. Yes, they are. But this is what I was talking about, where what CBR is. Okay, CBRs and your Go Collects, right? They are two industry entities, or they exist as two different types of entities in the industry. One, some of them have indexes, so they are an industry index, but they also are basically blogs, which in journalism terms, a blog is an opinion piece. Now, and I talked about this in my live stream yesterday. The difference between journalism and an opinion piece is journalism presents facts without opinion. They say there was a tornado that touched down in Chicago the other day, hit 20 acres, 2 people dead, period. That's a fact. That's journalism. An opinion piece is arguing a standpoint. My what I used yesterday was abortion. An opinion piece would saying abortion should be illegal because this. I present a thesis statement, and then I present data to back it up. Or I could say abortion should be 100% legal and protected by the Constitution. That's the thesis statement, and then I back it up with data to prove my point. Those are opinion pieces. So CBR, what you're reading, are opinion pieces. Now, what they are, though, in the industry, and this goes back to your other argument with me saying you're a fool for saying your opinion doesn't matter. You're taking my words out of context. When you get CBR, individuals that write for CBR, writing opinion pieces like that, Thundergodd, it means something. Because why? People watch and read it because they have clout in the industry. Now, there's still just one person, and it's still just an opinion. But they have more ability within the industry to change things. And I talked about that in my videos, okay? So I'm giving you credit. This individual writing this opinion piece for CBR backs you up. They back up what you're saying, okay? And you're right. Okay, Thundergodd, to your point, your opinion is based on being in the industry and Marvel indexes from the past. Okay. I never denied that. I never denied that. So where this got so out of hand to me is just ridiculous. This is let me try to go into it, Thundergodd, why I'm here, and try one last time to have you understand where I'm coming from. Okay? Let's talk about how you are nagging me about saying that I'm a defeatist. When I say that my opinion doesn't matter, it's more of a it's a subjective, not subjective. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not 100% literal. It's abstract. When I say my opinion doesn't matter, it's more abstract than it is extremely literal. And let me explain. My opinion as an individual on this subject doesn't matter because of this. And I'm going to explain why. I could come on YouTube all I want and yell and scream and shout and say that Annual 14 isn't a first appearance. When. I could call CGC. I could call Marvel. I could call Overstreet. I can rant and rant and rant, and it's not going to change anything at the end of the day. But my voice, as well as your voice and everyone else's voice and everyone else's voice and everyone else's voice, as a collective whole, can make a difference, especially if we get to the industry level. And I've never not said that since the beginning of my argument, and I feel you continually overlook that. I have said that since day one. So you're like tunnel visioning what I'm saying. You're picking apart my words. Now, there's two pieces to me stating what I just said. As it stands right now, this is another part of my argument, Thundergodd. As I stand right now, it is a fact that nobody's lying, okay? And let me explain what I'm saying by that, because I think your idea of pointing a finger at me saying I'm lying is not only false, but it's ridiculous, and it's a personal attack. But let me explain humbly here, okay? Look, that since the book came out, since Uncanny X-Men 266 came out, the industry as a whole has coined it the first appearance of Gambit. That's a fact. Whether I disagree with it or you disagree with it, it's a fact. If you don't agree with that, you're shooting crap out your ass. You are. It has been coined by the industry since its release as Uncanny X-Men 266. I've shown proof that Marvel coined it that. I've shown proof that Overstreet coined it that. CGC, CBCS, they've coined it that from the get. Whether we believe it to be right or wrong, it is factual according to industry to state that that's his first full appearance. Okay? And that argument, that statement has to stop there, period. There's nothing to add on to that. That is a fact. It's clear as day. That it's that much as a fact is if I slice my wrist right now, I would bleed red. Can we agree on that? And I'm not saying this isn't about, well, they're wrong. It's not about that. It's not about trying to prove them wrong. The fact is that they have clearly stated that to be since 30 years ago. Can we agree on that? Can we agree that the industry has called, no matter our opinion, Uncanny X-Men 266 the first full appearance of Gambit since day one? Can we agree on that? Oh, wait. That's a simple yes or no. That's a simple yes or no right there. Again, it doesn't matter if you think they're wrong. It doesn't matter if I think they're wrong. The industry as a whole has called Gambit's first full appearance X-Men 266 since day one. Am I still with you guys? Okay, see, no. That's besides the point right now, Thundergodd, and that's where I think that's like you're gaslighting here, dude. You're sidetracking. We'll get to that, and that's why I feel like your argument is like this. I'm not saying it's small, like it doesn't mean anything. I just mean it's like it's pinpointed. You have a pinpointed argument. What I'm talking about is layers of things, and you just keep diverting back to this one lane. I'm talking about what's going on in every lane of the freeway. You keep going back to the slow lane or to the fast lane or just one lane. I would like you to answer my question. Regardless if the industry, you think they're wrong or right, do you agree with me that the industry as a whole has called Gambit's first full appearance, Uncanny X-Men 266, since day one? Yes or no? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we agree there. That's part of what I think was getting lost in translation, Thundergodd, between me and you. Okay? Me saying that this is right according to the industry is merely pointing out what you just agreed with me on. Okay? And it's that simple. Now let's move on. Okay? Let's move on. Now, I think I like to think that we're getting somewhere right now. Okay? I do. I think we're getting somewhere. I really do. Maybe slowly but surely. Okay, let's take a breath and let's deal with this. Okay. Now, I believe this to be fact too, and I've been doing a lot of evidence. I have evidence of I've been reaching out to the community. I have evidence of Overstreet guides and Marvel indexes from the early 80s, mid 80s, and 1990s. Okay. I showed on my Marvel cards that is publishes by Marvel. Ultimately, and I know Thundergodd said this, and I know a lot of other collectors that have been around in the 70s said this. The term cameo has been around, but I'm going to stand by the idea that, and that the idea of cameo being used specifically for what we see it for now wasn't even as concrete as it is now. There's already a gray area of definition because not one entity or an industry as a whole came out and said no more than 3 panels, period. Nobody has come out and said that as a whole. So what is a cameo is still a gray area. I believe it was even more gray back in the 80s, okay? And my proof to this is this. In early Overstreets in the 1980s, they called all of everything that's called a cameo now, they called it a first appearance. They called 180 Wolverine's first appearance, period. Not cameo, not full, first appearance. You know what they called 181? Nothing. I have pictures in my phone, but I don't know if you guys would be able to, where is my phone? I always lose my phone. I don't know if you guys would be able to see it on screen, but just please take my word for it. If anybody wants the pictures, email me. I'll send them to you if you think I'm lying. They called 180 his Wolverine's first appearance. They called 181 nothing. And you know what they called 182? Wolverine cameo. They called it because, Wolverine's like, he was there in the 181 story. He shows up in 182 and a couple panels on the first page, and then he disappears again. And that book ultimately leads into another story. So Overstreet called Wolverine's appearance in 182 a cameo, not a first, but they called it a cameo, which tells me that cameo originally didn't just mean first cameo in the olden days of the industry. It was actually used more as the textbook definition of cameo. Now, there was another price guide index that I have from 1984. I have pictures of it if anybody wants it. That showed them calling 180 Wolverine's first cameo appearance. So you could see that, okay, there's something going on in the 80s here. I also have, and then I have, Cool Comics said something that I'll get to. Then I have pictures of a 1990 or 91, I forget which one, maybe both, Overstreet that called what we call cameos today brief appearances. Or no, excuse me. I'm getting ahead of myself. I have an Overstreet from 1990 and 1991 that's still called they called ASM 299 first appearance of Venom, period. And they still called Hulk 180 first appearance of Wolverine, period. But more modern Overstreets call the cameos and call the full appearances no, they don't call them cameos, excuse me, they call them brief, like Cool Comics just said. So even though we know what they mean, we know that they mean the same thing that cameo means nowadays. So now my point here is this, that over the last 30 plus years, 30, 40 years, the industry has evolved. And I don't think it evolved at one point in time and they changed it. But I do feel that it's evolved slowly where regardless if you like the cameo or not, the industry is actually more consistent than ever with their terms. And I've done my research, guys. Nowadays, how books are labeled, whether they changed what was labeled in the past with key books like 180 and 181 or 299 or 300 of Spider-Man, the industry is extremely consistent at recognizing cameos for being cameos and full appearances for being full appearances. CGC, CBCS, Overstreet, they're all extremely consistent, okay? And that was my point originally with my argument too. So going back to you, Thundergodd, all I'm saying is that the industry is calling it one thing, and it's as simple as that. And let me use the example I used. If I'm a comic book store owner and I have annual 14 books and I try to sell them, calling them Gambit's first true appearance, it's not bad. It's not good business. Okay. It's not. It's going to probably alienate some customers, and it's probably going to look like a bad culture because I'm perpetuating a different title and a different label than the industry standard right now. Now, let's just put a period at that. Let's end it right there, because I don't want Thundergodd you to go off and say, well, okay, look, that's just, and you can talk to comic book store owners. I can guarantee you there is probably very slim comic book owners out right now that would risk that. Because why? Because they know the 266 is the money book, and they're going to call that exactly what the industry's calling it, Gambit's first appearance, and they're going to call annual 14 exactly what it is, his, according to the industry, his cameo. Okay, that's a fact. Regardless if you agree or not, it is how it is. So let's put a period on that, so we don't argue on straw man arguments that just don't fit into the context of what I'm trying to say. Okay, so I hope, Thundergodd, are you still with me, Thundergodd? Am I kind of streamlining these things into specific lanes here? Okay, because I'm going to get to backing up your point here still even more. But I want you to know, I want to know that you're seeing how you're differentiating that these things are almost separate things that I'm addressing. And I think ultimately you were kind of bundling them all up and getting this false context of what I was trying to say. So let me get a response from you if you're still with me to see, okay, yeah, I'm streamlining these things because I want to go full circle back to your point, specifically about Uncanny 14. Guys, I'm sorry, I'm winded here. Give me a breather. Just hold tight, guys. Let me give Thundergodd a chance to respond. If he's still with us, I hope he is, because I felt like we were making progress. Let me read Brick Hunter. It doesn't matter. Industry calls 266 first. Yet you evoke on industry traditional using 1 to 3 panels. So which is it? Okay, well, Brick Hunter. And see, here's the question. Thundergodd was saying that something mattered. I don't know what it was right now, but then Brick Hunter said, does this matter? Things do matter, and that's another point of why I break this. It's not just black and white to me, and why I say my opinion doesn't matter. So many different things matter. In Brick Hunter, yes, industry matters. What the industry opinion matters, and I'm going to explain why in a minute. But let me get to Thundergodd's comment here. The more accurate thing to say to a customer is X-Men 266 considers this first appearance more valuable, but this first. Okay. I 99.9% agree with you, Thundergodd. Although I would just add a word there by when you say first real, I would educate the customer on why the industry, on the fact that the industry still coins it his cameo. And I would say, personally, I feel this is his first real appearance, and then educate him why. But don't neglect that it's still your opinion, because then ultimately, like you were saying to me, I'm miseducating a line to people. You're almost miseducating them by not putting it in complete context. So I would just add a couple words in there so you're clear in the context of your statement. And Thundergodd, again, I agree. I would, if I was a comic book store owner or worker, even though I would label my books as the industry labels them, I would label 266 as his first full appearance, and I would label the 14 as his cameo. I would do exactly what you just did. I would have a conversation with my customers and say, guess what? According to the industry, this is considered his cameo. The 266 is his money book, so it might be a better book for you to invest in. I'd give them tips, right? But I would say, just like what you said, I'd say, but you know what? I hate the term cameo. And ultimately, this book is controversial because it came out before. And typically, a cameo, we see a cameo be 2, 3, 4 panels. This one has even more than that. So I understand why it's controversial. And personally, I would label it his first true appearance. I would do that same thing, but it's not going to change what I label the books, right? Right. And I agree. Like, you could still label it according to industry standard, but yet provide full and accurate content or excuse me, context of the controversy surrounding it. So again, ultimately, we agree. And it gives the a customer the option to figure out which one they want to buy and invest in. I agree. So see, again, we're still at a point here where I don't see why any of this had to get where it went, right? Exactly. So let me just go. I want to do this. I want to do this. And before I get back to Thundergodd to kind of the bulk of the 14 book, somebody, Brick Hunter, I think, just asked, does industry opinion matter? And again, Thundergodd, I think this is where you were kind of twisting my words. Industry opinion matters on multiple levels, but and guys, I'm a businessman. I have multiple business degrees, and I'm not saying this to flaunt and to act like, oh, I know everything. I don't know everything, but I'm just saying it to provide context to say that, guys, you know, I do have background in this stuff. I've studied law. I've studied business. I've ran my own side businesses. So I'm well versed. I'm not a know-it-all. I'm well versed in business, talk in business stuff. So, and I'm getting winded, so I apologize, guys. But industry opinion matters, and let me say why. Now, first, I think this was getting lost in Thundergodd too. Demand, market drives demand. Demand defines market, right? And demand comes from us. It comes from us and us alone. But to act like it's that black and white is ignorant. And let me give an example. Our purchasing power is the thing that drives economics. It's what drives supply and demand, period. But what drives our purchasing power and our purchasing choices? Do you think that when we go and buy a new cell phone, that we're solely autonomous in our decision? Absolutely not. What helps make our opinion to use our purchasing power to buy a Samsung or an iPhone? You know what it does? Industry opinion. And you know what else is surrounded within that industry opinion? Advertising. Our demand is influenced extremely by advertising and by industry influencing us, telling us what we should buy. I was on an article right here, pulling it up on screen, and what did you see? You saw ads popping up. We have cell phones in our pockets that we give permission to listen to our conversations. They have algorithms that monitor everything we search in a search engine, and they populate ads for us. Every waking moment that we live, we are being influenced on a subconscious level by marketing and advertising. So to simply say that our demand makes which books as valuable as they are, period, is ridiculous, because our demand is influenced by advertising and industry opinion. Now, when we take it away from cell phones and go to comic books, what does advertising mean? It can mean many things. It can mean the context of the story, the style of the character, the art behind the books, the marketing of the book, the previews the speculation of the book. All of these things help influence what books we're going to buy that Wednesday, or what book we're going to buy when we go to that con or we go to that local LCS sale. All of these things influence our purchasing power. So again, that's the chicken or the egg argument. What comes first? Do we influence the industry, or does the industry influence us? The answer to that question is it's an infinite cycle that doesn't have a start or an ending. It doesn't start with us and end with them, and it doesn't start with them and end with us. It's doing this constant influx. So to sit here and say that if, what's her name? What's the new character's name? Freaking Batman. Shoot, here I go with my brain farts. If the author came out and said Batman 89 is her first appearance, we would flock to 89. If they said it was 92, we'd flock to 92. Industry opinion matters. But ultimately, the industry is influenced by us as well. And sometimes our demand is organic. Sometimes it is organic. But we have to understand that it's give and take. It's never black and white. All right, let me take a breather and get to some of the comments. That was my point. Industry opinion matters. Look at how option on restorations have changed over time. Restoration used to be norm. Absolutely. Now industry says there you go. There you go. It does matter. So, all right, Thundergodd, let's get back. I want to get back to two things, Thundergodd, okay? I want to get back to where you're standing firm about your opinion on Annual 14. And I'm not mad at you about that. I was upset that I felt you were completely overlooking so much of what I was saying, thinking that you needed to prove me wrong. But let's get back to the one book in question. Let's run through an outline here real quick. We have agreed that the industry is called 14 cameo basically from the beginning, and we agreed that they called 266 his first appearance since day one. We agreed upon that. I think we agreed that these labels like cameo and so forth have evolved over time, and I think the industry is pretty consistent these days. I think we're pretty consistent on that. Thundergodd, I saw your last comment. No, I didn't see this. The industry may somewhat influence, but we decide what we're true. Hey, you're right. At the end of the day, let's keep that up there for a second. At the end of the day, we make the decision, right? Nobody has a gun to our head, literally. But come on, Thundergodd, come on. You got to understand psychology. I have a sociology degree too, and I've studied sociology, and I got a minor in sociology. And again, I'm not saying this to be a know-it-all, but you got to understand, especially in the instantaneous technological age of information, we are ultimately making our own decisions. We have to be accountable for our own actions, but the influence is strong. Okay, let's not look over that lightly. Okay, but let's go back to the rundown of what we agree on. We agree that Uncanny has been called what it is since day one. The industry terms have evolved. It seems to be pretty consistent across the board. Okay, we never disagreed about any of that. Okay, I heard you about Robotech, and that's good. Yeah, let's give detailed opinion and our own perspectives on why we think things are this way and that way. Even if the industry says this, let's put it all in context. But we have to put it all in context. You can't be a comic book store owner and say the industry's lying to you. I'm not to mock you, Thundergodd. I'm not mocking you. I hope you understand that. But you can't just flat out say they're lying to you. I'm right. That's bad. But you could say, like you said it. Look, the industry says it this way, but I look at it like this. It came out da 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 da, and you know what? Ultimately, it's up to you which one you desire more. I agree with you. So there's so far we really agree on everything. Now let's look at this. Thundergodd, I want you to be humble to the fact that what defines a cameo is a gray area. It is. It really is. And that's ultimately a fact. I stand with you though that that precedent really puts cameos at around 2, 3, or maybe, and I'm gonna throw 4 in there. I'm just gonna throw it in there for talk's sake. I think precedent really does show 2, 3, 4 panels as a cameo. You've been there. You've been around. I think we had what, one or two cameos that people brought up. They had like 4, maybe 5, maybe, right? And I'm with you there, but we have to agree that it's not set in stone. There's a gray area, but we've seen precedent. Okay, we know what a precedent is. We get this book, and we see this guy Gambit on what, 4 panels on one page, and he's talking. We see him in 1 panel on the next page, and then we see him on a handful of other pages, but he's in the background and he doesn't talk anymore. Ultimately, due to precedent, we should look at that book and be like, yo, cameo? Really? Even though I don't like the term, I get what precedent has stated it to be. And I'm still questioning, like, you're going to call this book his cameo? Thundergodd, I agree. I agree. I agree with that pondering. I agree. And I never didn't disagree. But let me try to humble you a little bit, though. And I think this is where you were trying to jump down my throat. Listen. I will argue. And me argue, please know, me stating this doesn't go against what I just said. Me stating this doesn't counter what I just said and eliminate the validity of what I just said. But let's just have an open mind here real quick, okay? Precedent. Let me get some water. Precedent for a first full, maybe call it true, call it full, because that's what the industry calls it. Precedent for a first full story is a lot more than what we see in Uncanny 14, Annual 14. Precedent says that. Now, there's no, like I said, I can't say this is a fact of what makes this a full, because that's a gray area. Nobody's ever said, by definition of law and engraved in stone, this is what defines the first full period. No. So even with the full appearance, we can use precedent, we can use logic, right? But it's a gray area because we don't know. But ultimately, what makes a full first appearance, the individual is thoroughly part of the story, right? I think we all can agree on that. Thoroughly part of the story. And I'm going to use an example. Well, Hulk 181, Hulk was in the whole book. Wolverine was in the whole book. He's fighting Hulk, right? Taskmaster 196. He is the antagonist in that whole book. Venom 300. I mean, we get that, right? It's like, it's obvious. But here's an interesting one. Avengers Annual number 10. First appearance of Rogue. Rogue appears in, and I counted, either 11 or 10 pages in that book, okay? Which isn't too many more than Gambit when you talk about pages. But here's the difference. She's in almost every panel of all those pages. Like every page that she's on, she's in almost every panel. And she's talking in almost every panel. and her storyline is like the main story of the book. So I would think that we all can agree that her 12 pages next to Gambit's 8 pages, being in the background, having 1 page of 4 panels, and having 8 pages of just being in like 1 panel in the background, and he has talking bubbles only on 1 page, right? I think, and again, we're not even denying anything of Annual 14. I'm just trying to point out a clear difference. I think it's easy to say it's a fact that still Annual Avengers 10 is completely different than Annual 14, because still Gambit was a minor role in that book, whereas Rogue was a main role in that book. Can we agree on that? Can we agree on that without saying yeah, but, or going down any other rabbit hole, especially you, Thundergodd? Can we agree that ultimately the character role in both of those books between Rogue and, okay, so we agree again, we agree, and I think it would be obvious why we would call Annual 10 Rogue's first full appearance, right? Now again, that doesn't disregard putting a question mark at the end of Annual 14. We're still holding that there, right? But let's see if we can agree on this, Thundergodd. According to precedent of what makes a first full appearance, can you agree with me that Annual 14 is probably on the complete opposite end of what a first full appearance should be? Or not should be, excuse me, not should be. Wording is very important right now. Can we agree that Gambit's appearance and role in Annual 14 is way much more minor and just different in context to what usually is termed a first full appearance? Do we agree on that? I'm going to wait for a reply. There should be a yes or no. There should be a yes or no. Again, not taking the question mark off of what the right thing to call Annual 14 is. Okay, we agree on this. Yes. Okay. So this is awesome. I'm gonna stop right here before I like almost validate your argument, Thundergodd. I just want you to know right now, basically, everything that I just said was my point from the beginning. Everything that we just agreed on, Thundergodd, was my point from the beginning. Oh, I think actually, Thundergodd, I think I didn't touch on one more thing, and that's the collective. Like, I like being practical and being business minded. I know that me as an individual doesn't change things necessarily, but I know that it starts with one voice. I know that. And that's why I thought you were just tunnel vision at me, man. Like, that's why I would still talk here and voice my opinion. But I'm going to sit here and also say, hey, my opinion means crap unless all of us demand something different with our purchasing power, or like 100,000 comic collectors show up with pitchforks at like Marvel headquarters and demand that they change the name of a book, right? So again, I think you got carried away with taking that out of context. Now, with that being said, I just spent the last like hour or so breaking this down in a way where I think me and you, Thundergodd, we got through whatever the misconception and miscommunication was. Because basically, we just agreed on everything that I was trying to say in all of my videos this week. And it's that simple. Okay? All I'm saying is that, Uncanny 14 Annual seems more like a cameo, so I understand why they would call it one, but it's still different than what we usually see as precedent. The industry isn't lying in terms of what they want to see it as, because they've declared it that since day one. So we're focusing on little words and terms here. If you're a comic book owner, you would probably declare it as this. My opinion as a collector isn't going to change it unless it was a collective voice. Purchasing power does impact, but yet we are influenced by industry. All of those things, I just broke it all down and we all agreed. Thundergodd, I love that you're using Rosa Parks. Bless her heart, but I think you're going a little extreme with that example. It's a bit extreme. Okay, let's just. I get it, and believe me, like I want to change the world. I'm Thundergodd. I don't know if you're a fan of Tupac, but Thundergodd. Let me tell you my favorite quote in the whole wide world. I'm gonna take a breath and I'm gonna drink some water. 1 second. Everyone's opinion does matter, and I'm not denying that. So I think maybe we're still getting lost in translation there. Hold on. Okay, so basically, Tupac, he saved my life. I went through hard times as a teenager. Tupac saved my life, literally. That's not even a stretch. Facing a jail cell or death, everything I was going through, he saved my life. My favorite quote that I've lived by, because when I went down that dark road and I woke up and I realized I need to get my life together or I'm going to freaking end up 6 feet deep or something. The quote that I live by, and I still live by to this day, and I have kids and I teach this to them. I am not saying I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. Thundergodd, I'm going to repeat that one more time. I live by this. I'm not saying I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. I am a living embodiment to prove that Tupac sparked the brain. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say the same thing. I'm not saying I'm going to change the world, but I want to spark the brain that will. And you know who that brain is? My kids, first and foremost. That's my kids. I'm a musician as well, and I try to be that through my music. So when you use the example of Rosa Parks, I love it. I love it, but it's a bit of a stretch because we are talking comic books here, okay? But all I'm saying, Thundergodd, that I think you're still maybe not understanding is that I'm not denying that my one voice matters, okay? That's not what I meant at all, okay? All I meant was as a collector, as one collector, I alone don't have the power to change what an industry is going to call a book. So it's that simple, period, right? But I think every time I said that in all of my videos, somewhere around there, I added the context that, but as a collective whole, we can influence, okay? So I think you were still like just focused on one lane of where I was driving. Does that make sense? So it wasn't defeatism. I wasn't being a defeatist. I was being logical and breaking it down to the atoms. I, as an individual, can yell and scream, and it's not going to change anything. You, as an individual, can yell and scream. And I think I even said this exact same thing in one of my videos. But if me and you are on here talking together about it, we're starting the conversation, and we can continue to have the conversation. And I've always kept it in that context. So I don't know why that got lost in translation. Okay. But I hope that that's cleared the air now on that last piece. And if it has, then we have ultimately agreed on every single piece of everything I was trying to say. So with that being said, so Thundergodd, are we like thoroughly good? Like, are you like I dropped the jewel of the Tupac quote? And like I really think, believe me, if you knew me personally, I am not a defeatist. Believe me. The power of one and then the power of the collective, right? But you break them apart. You break these things apart. You address them individually, address them as the collective. That's all I was trying to do. Okay, so Thundergodd, man. Okay, and all my viewers, I'm gonna say something, Thundergodd, to my viewers that I was saying before you were here. When I started this live stream, I said that I didn't want this to be something that did not resort in a respectful dialogue. And Thundergodd, I was frustrated with you. I thought that you were really steep into a level that I didn't want to get in my comments. Maybe now it's just, maybe you were just frustrated and really not understanding. So maybe it was just a matter of like, with good intention, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? And it just ended up getting lost, whatever it may be. But I told everyone, like, I'm giving the, I did feel that your comments were negative, and I told you I didn't even want to reply or give you the time of day again. I said that because it's just like, I just thought it was pointless, and I felt it having this negative energy. It wasn't fun anymore. Like, why do we need to yell and scream about it and argue? But I want to let everyone watching here today look at what happened, guys. Like, we took that, which could have left Thundergodd, somebody who, you know, could be a fellow member in this, is a fellow member in this community. Could have we could have never seen him again because he was like, oh, screw these guys. Or I could have been like, screw this guy, and I blocked him and all this. Here we are taking the time to address these things. And I think that we have gotten to a mutual understanding. And that is what I'm talking about. Now, with that being said, I've expressed the fact that I'm the industry calls Annual 14 a cameo, and it is what it is. Like, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it, but I love talking about these things. And I want to wrap this stream up, and I'm gonna wrap it up by talking about this. And it's almost the irony of the fact that me and Thundergodd we were actually in so much more of agreement than we were anything else that we were disagreeing on since the beginning, that it's funny that so much got lost in translation. It really is. Ah, I like that, Thundergodd. That's another one, right, where Gordon says, I'm only one person. What does he say? I just watched these movies with my son. How did he respond to that? Now there's two. Yes. Yep, exactly. So, and you know what? The irony of that, Thundergodd, is that, like, even, see, the power, it's not the power of one. It's the power of the two turning into the three, turning into the four. So I'm with you. But Thundergodd, I really hope that you could be humble and hear me out. I really hope we could put ego down and like, and not saying like you being egotistic. I just mean like the human ego. Let's drop that down here a little more for a minute, and let's do this. Like, in your comments when you were talking about this, like how you were like, really, and this is really kind of really rubbed me wrong. And I want you to look, we all make mistakes, and I hope that you can admit to this, okay? And I do see where you're getting at, and that's awesome. But listen, when you started saying they're lying, I think there's a better way to state that, okay? And then when you started saying people like you, and that's why people like you, and that's why this, I think there's a better way to say that. Do you understand what I'm saying now? Like, I do feel that there are some things in there, even before it started going sour. Like, I feel there was some things in there where, if you can humbly hear me out, maybe you could change your wording a little bit and how you approach it. You know, and I think that would allow people to see less of being attacked and less like you kind of just going, maybe kind of ranting about it to an extreme, saying, oh, they're lying and it's ruining, like, and just kind of be that comic book store owner that understands the industry and doesn't want to dictate personal opinion and shove that down their throat, but wants to do it in a professional way that educates them. Does that make sense? So I hope that, you can take my advice and don't think that I'm like pointing a finger at you, calling you a bad guy, but I would like you to maybe just be conscious of those certain types of wordings of how you approach the subject, and maybe see if there's a better wording that'll allow people to take in what you say with a little more ease and openness to say, oh, okay, I'm listening. So I hope that makes sense. And I'm gonna put this up here right now. This is big. He says it was uh actually, Thundergodd, you said it was my intent to insult you. I think that you meant to say it wasn't your intent. Can we get a confirmation there? You said it was my intent to insult you. Oh, let's get a laugh out of this, because I'm pretty sure you meant to say it wasn't my intent to insult you. My apologies. And I just want to say, and I want to point to everyone, that's huge. Yeah. Okay, he says my bad. You meant to say it wasn't my intent to insult you. My apologies. We are grown men having this discussion, humbling ourselves, and here he is apologizing. And he didn't even need to apologize. He could have just said, I respect that, or something like that. And I just want to say, Thunder God, I appreciate you. I apologize to you. And again, not necessarily because I feel like I did something wrong, but because maybe you misunderstood my intent as well. So I never wanted that to happen, and that wasn't my. So here we are. We both can say this on both ends, right? And that's big, because again, I feel like we live in a world today, especially on social media, where people are so narcissistic and so cynical and so egotistical that they will act like a schoolyard bully and never get to a point of saying, I understand, I respect, let alone saying, I apologize. And I want this to be an example for everyone, man. And that's whether you're talking politics or comic books or what. Like, dude, let this be an example. And I'm so glad that we were able to do this today. I'm going to end on saying this, though, for a minute, guys. And let me take another breath. And Thundergod's probably going to laugh at me, because I'm going to actually back him up even more right now. Give me a second. All right. So, all right, guys. You ready? Here we go. With everything that we fleshed out, the argument of Annual 14 being a cameo or a first appearance is still a valid argument. Personally, I understand that, and I feel, and we address lots of facts that can back this up tonight. I feel that we can say that what defines a cameo is a gray area, right? And with that being said, Gambit's role in Annual 14 feels more like a cameo than it does a first full appearance. I will stand by that forever. And listen to my words. Wording is critical. Gambit's role in Annual 14, because there's a gray area in definition, is way more fitting to look like a cameo than it is to look like the precedent of what a full appearance is. Period. I will argue that, and I will argue that, and I will keep my feet firm. But get this, guys. Listen to this. What's Carol Danvers' first appearance? Marvel Superheroes 13. Anybody know Carol Danvers' first appearance? Marvel Superheroes 13, I believe. Like 1968, right? I'm pretty sure I got that right. Carol Danvers' first appearance, CGC. Yes, okay.
Captain Marvel number 13, 1968. According to withdrawals.
Okay, watch this. Watch this, guys. Bear with me. Hang out. Hang out with me here because this is going to be worth it. Don't go nowhere yet. Man, it's so blurry. Shoot. I'm trying to get a high-res image of this book for you guys to see. Dang it. Come on. Well, I can read it. Guys, it's right there. That's a CGC label. And I'm going to read to you what it says, okay? It says, first appearance of Carol Danvers. Period. Now, remember, it is industry standard nowadays, and I address this. The full appearance only shows, whether it's Overstreet, whether it's CGC or third-party slabbers, whatever it is. Full appearance only shows if a cameo precedes it, right? Anyone that has a first appearance and their story is technically a full appearance, they won't say full, they'll just say first appearance. Gwen Stacy's first appearance, ASM 31. It just says first appearance of Gwen Stacy. She never had a cameo. What's another one? Silver Surfer first appearance, 48. It's just first appearance. It's not a cameo. He never had a cameo, right? So anytime there is no brief showing of some sort of cameo, if a full appearance is a full appearance, they do not notate full. But by that definition, Marvel Superheroes number 13 is Carol Danvers' first full appearance. Do you know how many pages she shows up on? And I forgot the exact amount, but I know roughly. Does anybody have the exact amount of of how many pages, not even panels, but pages, Carol Danvers shows up on? I see people talking about politics in the comments, and I don't want to censor your politics. That I'm totally fine with that. But I just want to make sure that nobody's arguing. And I want your politic talk to not bad talk anyone. I don't want name calling or any of that sort. If you disagree with a certain actor or actress, if you disagree with certain elements of politics, it's perfectly fine. I don't want anybody knocking anybody else in the chat if they disagree. And I don't want any kind of name calling. I just want to set that tone right now. So with that being said, proceed forward. Does anyone know how many pages Carol Danvers showed up and what the industry declares her first appearance to be? And I'm gonna while I'm waiting for an answer from you guys, I'm gonna look up. Oh God, I should have brought my glasses. I cannot read. Wow, this is so, guys. Like I'm getting old, I guess. Marvel superheroes. Let's see what we got. Marvel superheroes. J M Marvel. Okay, Marvel team up. Marvel super action. Marvel superheroes. Okay, and again, I verified CGC. Overstreet says here too. 13. First appearance of Carol Danvers. First appearance of Carol Danvers, guys. First appearance, period, right? Okay, so I'm just going to say it. I'm not getting an answer. I believe Carol Danvers shows up in 4 pages. 4 pages, I believe. Actually, you know what I can do? I'm going to bring it up. No, I don't have it. Guys, I'm going to bring up Okay, hold on, Thundergodd. I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get to it. It's considered her first full appearance. I'm gonna get to this though. Hold on one second. I'm gonna pop. You guys are gonna see me, but I'm gonna pop off. I can't see you guys into the chat for a minute. I'm gonna bring up Marvel Unlimited, and we're gonna look at this book together. I'm gonna sign into my Marvel Unlimited. Signing in. I'm gonna go to comic books. I'm gonna bring up Marvel superheroes. Let's see. Where's M? There we go. All right. Let's say Marvel. Just bear with me, guys. I appreciate you guys being patient. This is a big thing to end this stream on. This is huge to end the stream on. Marvel, Marvel, Marvel. Hold on once. There's so much Marvel titles. Marvel. Oh, here we go. Okay. Marvel. Marvel Team Up. Marvel Super. Almost there. Marvel Saga. Oh, man. There's so much, guys. There's so much. Marvel Superheroes Adventures. Oh, my gosh. Here we go. Marvel Superheroes 1967 run. And we're going to bring up issue number 13. Almost here, guys. I'm going to bring it up on screen for everyone to see. Here it is. Okay, 13. Let me go into the reader. Let me go into the e-reader. Read now. All right, guys. Let me pull this up on screen with everyone. All right, check this out, guys. All right. Oh, wait. No. There it is. Okay. Everyone should be able to see this book. We're going to flip through this book. I'm going to zoom out, actually. All right. Here we go. You guys see that, right? Yep. Okay. Here we go. So we're into the book. We're reading it through. Boom. All this fun stuff is happening. Awesome stuff happening. Awesome stuff. Okay. Here we go. Action going on. More action going on. What's going on here? Oh, we got a car pulling up. And boom. Here we go. We are introduced to a brand new character in a half-page panel. We get her name. She's talking. That's one page, one panel. Hey, everyone, count with me. One page, one panel. Right here. Big panel. One page, one panel. Here she is again. Lots of talking. 2 pages, 2 panels. All right. 1, 2, 3 panels. 4 panels. 5 panels on 2 pages. 2 page, 5 panel. Okay, we got 2 page, 5 panels so far. Wait, what? That's the end of the book. You don't say. You don't say. What just happened there? Are me and Thundergodd going to agree on something again? So what did you guys just see there? 2 pages. I thought it was 4. 2 pages, 5 panels. She did talk a lot. She talked a lot. Oh, Thundergodd disappeared for a minute. Thundergodd, did you see that? Did you see that we just actually flipped through the book? Do I need to bring that up again? Let's bring it up one more time. Let's bring it up one more time because I don't know if Thundergodd saw that. Look at this, Thundergodd. We went through the book. we went through Carol Danvers' first appearance, and let me show you. We were introduced to her on one page, one panel, 1 and 1. 2 page, 2 panel, 2 page, 3 panel, 4 panel, 5 panel, 2 pages, 5 panels. Lots of talking. But then we do not see her again for the rest of the book. For the rest of the book, we do not see her again. What does that say? What does that say? It proves why Thundergodd's argument, and we're not talking about facts here. We're talking about a legitimate argument. Okay? I'm not saying Thundergodd is right. They're lying, or this is this. It's still merely Thundergodd. It's merely your opinion, but your argument to back that opinion up is valid. This book is categorized as a first appearance. Period. It's not a cameo. It never got changed to a cameo at all or nothing. Okay, so she in here. Let's compare it. Let's compare it to Annual 14. She appeared in 5 panels, 2 pages. Gambit appeared in what? 4 main panels, but then a good handful of panels after that in a total of what, 8 or 9 pages? Carol Danvers talks more. She talks more. She does. That's the only difference. Carol Danvers talks more. She has more lines, but she has less panels and less pages. Even though, like I said, even though Gambit's pages, he's in the background. You can't deny that. He's in the background and everything. But the bottom line, it's stuff like this that makes people like Thundergodd say, dude, are you serious? Gambit's book is not a cameo then. And guys, my battery's going to die. I didn't have my battery out here, so I probably have a few more minutes, and I want to wrap this up. And I'm going to let Thundergodd get a word in here. I wanted to wrap up on this video, though, to show that this is a valid argument that I don't think is going to end anytime soon. But Thundergodd, I want you to know that, I just want you to know my intent. When I discuss things, I take so many different variables and I look at so many different things from so many angles. And I think that might have been convoluting what you were hearing out of me. And I think just might have made you frustrated and ultimately made your replies seem kind of incoherent to me. And ultimately, I just think it might have been a misunderstanding. Because I think we have validated all of our talking points, and we can really get on a similar level here, and look at things from 2 sides of the coin. And Thundergodd says, coming from the Dark Knight line, you were 1, now we're 2, and again, right. So the thing that I want to take from this, Thundergodd, is 1, I hope that I open your mind. And I don't say I want to change your ultimate opinion and stance on something, but I hope I broaden your perspective. And I know that my perspective has been broadened too from you and everyone else that I've been discussing this with. And I've learned more. I've learned more on this. I wasn't familiar with terminology in the 70s or even early 80s until this week. So I am just, guys, I am extremely happy that Thundergodd joined today. I think we all showed our true colors, and I think it shows that we could get caught up in emotion sometimes. Communication can get lost in translation, especially on screens and type words. And I think it goes to show that we should always try to resolve something respectfully and as adults, rather than just being quick to react and, stoop to a level that just alienates people and becomes negative and counterproductive. And, I want to thank everyone for joining and sitting through this, and I hope that everyone else also feels that this was a positive a positive stream, positive communication, and positive talk for everyone involved, but most importantly for myself and for Thundergodd. So Thundergodd, if you have any last words here that you want to state, I appreciate you humbling yourself to me too and allowing you to hop on this and not get defensive towards me. I'm glad you didn't see this as an attack from the beginning. I'm glad that you showed up and dropped your guard and let us work through our differences to really get to a point to say, like, see, like, we threw a lot on the table that, and we have more in common and we agree on so much more than where we may differ, right? Now, Thundergodd, if you were here, I'd give you whatever you want to call it. The younger kids call it. I give you a dap. I give you a pound and a dap. I may give you a nice firm handshake and a man hug. But honestly, even if you were here right now, I wouldn't give you any of that because I'm not trying to catch the virus. We gotta keep social distancing. I'd give you a Wakanda forever or maybe Tarzan chest bang or something like that. But I would still want to keep that 6 feet distance, right? I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I'm so glad. I'm so glad we were able to work through this. Really, and it's big. And again, I'll say lastly too. I think us working through this was much bigger than comics. Us working through this is humanity, community, and shows that hopefully no matter what the differences are, no matter where the disconnect is or the disagreement is, we can push through it. And I think that's needed in this world. I know we have a lot of people that are frustrated with the current crisis. I know it's not easy on anyone, but we have people that are, may not maybe taking it lightly. Some people that may be taking it seriously, and some may have other political views on it. But we got to understand that we are not enemies. Religion, politics, race, all of that, man. We really have to, you know, find our commonalities and talk it out. Because hey, life's too short. So, all right, guys. I'm spent. I'm spent. My battery's gonna die. I got to get ready for my live stream tomorrow on the Comic Book Canon channel. I hope to see you guys over there. Comic Book Canon with 2 N's. I was so busy today and I didn't even really have time for this. And now I've been sitting here for 2 hours. But let me tell you what, I don't regret it. I don't regret it one bit. I'm going to be up all night long now. But I don't regret it. I'm glad that I was able to have this discussion. Thundergodd, I'll leave by saying thanks again. You have my email. And if you ever want to reach out to me personally in the future, feel free. I think ultimately the biggest thing that we got from this is that we are decent human beings, and we can sit here and have an awesome discussion, and that's big. I think at the end of the day, it makes us all better people. So, all right, guys, Cody, Cheese Boy, Lisa, thank you guys for joining. Brick, Isaac, everyone that was in the chat. I know there's a lot of you. Michael. Thank you guys so much for being here. And Thundergodd, again, man, I wish you the best. Okay, cool. You left me an email. I left you my email in the other video. Awesome, man. Will do. Simon, I appreciate you guys. Be safe, stay healthy, get good rest, and until next time, guys, have a good evening.